Then you see Egyptians saying, thank you, Facebook. So it's an amazing shift from Gutenberg to Zuckerberg. But it's why it's so relevant is Luther's success and success of Reformation, and actually dramatic shift of power in Europe when Catholic Church eventually had to give in a lot of powers for the national states and national churches, was due to the fact that book printing created totally new environment. Many more people could learn. Many people could share the information. And they become powerful. So the decision-making circle had been dramatically expanded. And it helped Luther and his supporters to create a very powerful network of agents of change. We are today actually going through another revolution. The revolution, social revolution, based on the fact that Facebook, Twitter, and social networks, they empower millions of people. And when you talk about big numbers, no political projections, no diagrams, no experience of the past can help you to predict the future. Is it bad or good? I don't know. I don't think it's either good or bad. It's nature of the events. So when it's raining, you rather take umbrella and not complaining about the weather. So we have to live in the world where Facebook, Twitter decide the behavior of people everywhere, not only in the so-called developed countries, but everywhere, because everybody shares the same information now. Yeah, and WikiLeaks makes it impossible for politicians to play tricky games behind closed doors. Again, it's not good, it's not bad, it's 21st century, and that shapes this new challenge. And it's so unusual, and it's so much contrary to the previous experience that we all allocated in the 20th century, so that's why we have to make sure that we will be up to the challenge. So, by the way, this is when we talk about this protest, it also, again, I can't help but not mentioning Russia, because very often, people, less than before, but still talk about Putin and Medvedev and the regime being very popular, country not ready for any change, for uprising, and the opposition is not even seen in the horizon. So my response is fine, yeah, definitely. There's very little we can boast right now, but Putin knows that 2 weeks of the open TV debates could change things. So that's why his regime acts promptly and is very harshly against any opportunity of opposition to protest and to express our views, whether it's on the streets or on the on a print media. So, what is the nature, again, just since I believe that Putin's regime represents one of the greatest dangers for the world. So what is the nature of the Putin's regime? And here we are facing some kind of stumbling block, because many people don't recognize Putin's regime as a classical dictatorship. It just doesn't work like that. You start looking for elements in the regime, and then you discover that they are very mixed. So you obviously have elements of feudal state, with regions being subdued by the center, and taxes, being paid, from bottom to the top, and money is collected by the center. We have elements of the Mussolini corporate state. We have elements of the typical South American military juntas. But at the end of the day, all the things that I just mentioned, they are secondary to the key element, so the key factor, which I believe, it's a mafia-type loyalty. Loyalty is the key element of the promotion in the system. So that's what keeps it together. So you can violate any rules as long as you behave well within the system. Some kind of the nomenclatura amerta. So you break the rules, you're kicked out. Maybe killed, but definitely kicked out. You're still inside, you follow the rules, you don't give a damn about the official rules, Constitution, the Russian criminal code, whatever. It's all secondary or irrelevant at all to the loyalty to the boss, capo de tutti capi. So in this structure, Medvedev, who is by many seen as the president of Russia, is being mistaken by the titles. Not every time you have to believe your eyes. Sometimes you can challenge the visual images. So by this structure, Medvedev would be some kind of consigliere. So who should advise the boss, how to build relations with the chief of the police. So when I say chief of the police, is that it's for Putin and his regime, the West is very much seen as this chief of the police. And Medvedev is a good choice as someone who stays in the role of the shadow, because he sends the right signal. Today, Russian ruling elite needs to legitimize its capitals. And since it's, as I already mentioned, the dream is to legitimize it in the West, you need someone who makes these noises about modernization, liberalization, and sends messages in Twitter. So it's as we say, it's the nano president with a microblog. Yeah. Again, I'm returning to Putin, and I understand that I'm facing a potential threat of being accused of demonizing Putin and saying, who the hell is this man, this KGB lieutenant colonel who was just lucky, who got there and just in the right place in the right time, and he just collected all the benefits of Yeltsin's successor. But I think we have to give credit when the credit is due. And I believe that since Adolf Hitler, Putin is the most successful politician from the non-democratic country who could let's say charm. Let's use this word, charm Western leaders from the position of weakness. No, I mean, Stalin also could afford many things, but he had, when he talked to Roosevelt or Churchill, he had 12 million man army behind him. Hitler in 1936 had very little, even in 1938. Putin had nothing. I mean, Russia has no army except, the Chechen military force. No, but he has money and he knows how to use it. So, could you have, 10 years ago, anybody could imagine that German chancellor would be applying for a job in Gazprom? For Berlusconi, boasting his business relations with Putin, Chirac and Sarkozy lobbying for French businesses, and you can actually see that the contempt that Putin shows to all these people, because he knows everything has a price. So the damage for the ideals of Western type democracy caused by Putin's regime, it's immense, because it just sends a message across, not only to the Western countries, but also back to us, back to ex-Soviet Union, back to Russia. Democracy is a fake. It's not about transparency. It's not about the distribution, equal distribution of power within the different power branches. It's about paying the right price to the right person. FIFA, IOC, International Olympic Committee, anybody was willing to play by Putin's rules. And we have to recognize the danger represented by the man who controls more money in cash or in any other form than any other leader. Barack Obama is a beggar compared to Putin because he has to go to the Congress. He has to apply for an extra billion. And the opposition there, could stop him from spending this money, actually. Putin, $300 billion the budget, nearly $500 billion the gold currency reserves, and tens of billions of dollars of the Putin's gang, Timchenko, Kovalchuk brothers, Abramovich, and you name them. So look at the Forbes list and find out how many Russian names are there. And just remember one thing. Actually, let's look at the two facts. Year 2000, Russian economy was doing well. It was growing with oil $20 a barrel. $20 a barrel. Today, oil is nearly $100 a barrel. Russian economy is in red. It's sinking, it's deficit, and it's stagnating. $100 a barrel. Now, $20 and $100. So what's happened with the corruption? Now look at the Forbes list. How many billionaires in the Forbes list when Putin took over from Russia? Answer is 0. Today, nearly 100. Do you see that these two pieces of information can be connected? I believe yes. You can tie these dots.